Let me formally welcome you, sir, and to say a very big congratulations, sir, on your memoir. It's making wave all over. Born into journalism, memoir of a newspaper reporter, and also I congratulate you. 25 years of Africa Today magazine.
Thank you.
We all know how challenging it can be to sustain a brand of that nature.
Thank you.
And also the forthcoming 45th year career in journalism. Everything is coming about the same time.
About the same time.
Yes. How does that make you feel, sir?
Well, I can't believe myself that 45 years is coming so fast.
Okay.
You know, because it is a straight 45 years every day. Every day I have worked in the newsroom, you know, for 45 years. I've done nothing else, you know, but, you know, going after news since I was a teenager in Ibadan, you know.
Exactly what year, sir? What? How old
1976.
1976.
It was the summer I did the interview in the summer of 1976, and then I was lucky to be one of those accepted and employed. I was the youngest of all the journalists that were interviewed. I was the only one without experience. Because I was just coming out of secondary school, and I was working in Lagos, you know, with PZ Industries in Ilopeju, you know. But right from school, there were three major professions or study that I would, you know, like to get a career, you know, in. Either to go to university to study law. I would have probably been a lawyer if I went there. To study political science, because that, again, is one subject that I like so much. And the third option was journalism. As it happened, journalism was the first opportunity that came my way. I was 18 years old when
18.
I started. I was 18, you know, years old, you know, when I started in the sketch. I didn't have any chance of being employed because, as I said, I didn't have experience. I had a West African school certificate. All the other journalists who were to be interviewed on the day came from Daily Times, the Observer, you know, the Herald, the Punch. They were already in the business and they had experience. Somebody advised me before I went in that if I was asked by the panel, you know, where I would like to work in the sketch, which department, I should tell them that I would like to be a sports reporter.
Okay.
The whole idea was that it would be easier for me to enter through the sports desk, you know, and that was exactly what I told them, you know. Those who interviewed me, they said the panel was impressive and very intimidating, you know, top editors, including the acting general, including the general manager of the sketch at that time, Felix Adenaike, you know. So they were all there. The editor was Dayo Duile, you know, who himself is a very good journalist, newspaper reporter, and editor. KAYODE, the night editor. You know, all of them were there. when I told them that I would like to get into the sports desk, they didn't object, to that. I didn't know what their views, would be, but luckily I got the job. You see, but one thing that was significant was that on my first day, um, when I entered the newsroom, I didn't go through this sports desk. I went straight to the newsroom.
Mm.
You see, that was how I escaped being a sports reporter.
Mm.
And they took me in the newsroom. The news editor, a very fine gentleman, Biodun Famojuro, late now, liked me so much, and immediately welcomed me to the newsroom, introduced me to the senior reporters and other correspondents working in the newsroom. I was attached to a senior reporter who actually is my namesake, KAYODE Moritala. Is late now. Very brilliant newspaper reporter. He later became news editor himself, and then was press secretary to several governors in Oyo State. Later on. So as a cub reporter, in those days that was, the tradition. They pick young ones from school, and train them in-house, train them in the newsroom. So I was one of them. So attached to a senior reporter, in my own case, KAYODE Moritala. And what I was doing, it was like I was an apprentice. I was following him to the beat. And beat was the High Court in the Yagoku area of Ibadan. So he was covering the High Court, and I was covering the Magistrate Court. So he was supervising me in what I was doing. What was in vogue, at that time during the Obasanjo military regime was this issue of profiteering. They call it profiteering in those days because there was a price control board, and retailers couldn't sell beyond the prescribed prices of items. If you are caught to be selling above the stipulated prices, you will be arrested and taken to court, in violation of the price control. I don't know whether there is a price control board again in Nigeria of today.
Yeah.
So that was what I was covering, at that time. And KAYODE Moritala was supervising me. Apart from that, I will also do my bit at the customary court, which you will say is the lowest of the lowest, in terms of, court coverage. But I was still getting some good stories, out of customary courts, and the very interesting cases of wife and husband fighting each other, and then they would like to get settlement, through the chairman of the magistrate court. So I started from that very humble beginning, and started being given bigger and higher responsibilities. But this journalism can be very frustrating, as well, because all the time when I was filing stories from the customary court and the magistrate courts, my stories would not be published the following morning, like my senior reporter who was supervising me. KAYODE Moritala's stories were headline stories, in the newspapers. So I was wondering why my stories were not published on the following morning. They will be published late, maybe 2 days or 3 days after. And then also, my byline will not be used, when my stories eventually got published. And for journalists, bad line is a big deal. You want to see your name in print. And in my own case, when it came out eventually, my name looks good, in print. So I got concerned, and frustration was, getting in one day, and I walked into the sub-editor's room to complain to them that, why is it that you are not using my story? And when you use them 2 days or 3 days late, and you even using them without my bad line. The chief sub-editor, Mr. Kolawole, and all the sub-editors were interested in my complaint, actually, and they were listening to me. Mr. Kolawole then got up from his desk. That is the chief sub himself. Put his hand behind his arms around me, and told me, he said, "KAYODE, we have been seeing your stories. You are doing very well. Just continue." And he was following me back to the newsroom as he was talking to me. Just continue the way you are doing. One day, when you get a very good story, you won't come to the sub-editor's room to ask for your story to be used the following morning.